Hi, guys. Hey, welcome back. All right, so let's get into a Cancerian story. It is Saturday. Happy Saturday, guys. All right, so here we go. We've got a Seven of Wands. By the way, happy 11/22 portal, Cancerians. It's kind of a fun day. We have an Eight of Cups, and we have the Moon. And actually, the full moon is very prominent on both of these cards. So I just have to make a small note here that we may have a divine feminine that is walking into the great unknown. But I will say, unknown to her is that she has something. It's partnership on the horizon, even if she's not aware of it. It's something that the moon is trying to whisper to her or illuminate to her. There was some kind of a blockage possibly between herself and another person. And although she may have turned her back and said, I must go a different direction, I still see her possibly going to be surprised by something. Violet, hi, babe. Chrissy, so nice to see you again, babe. Chrissy, what was the food item you guys were talking about in the other video? I wanted to know because it sounded yummy. Something you're going to eat in Thailand. Anyway, sorry guys, I digress, but I'm such a foodie and I love to know all the international cuisines. So to see the Queen of Cups here in the reverse, that looks like she doesn't believe that there's love on the horizon for her. Not at all. Lena Bora, my pleasure, babe. We have the Chariot. She just thinks that she's moving on. This is a feminine who's I don't know if a masculine turned his back on her. Now, do bear in mind, I don't actually read for genders, but in this we see a masculine clearly more concerned with some of the obstacles he faces, maybe in his education or maybe in his career path. And it feels like it's very hard to be in a relationship with somebody who has their back to you. So I think she goes ahead and exits. It's like, okay, well, apparently this doesn't seem to be a place for me to stay, so I guess I'll go. But in her walking away, we do see her not expecting it at all. In fact, quite the reverse. This is Cancerian, maybe even feeling shut down. This could be her actually crying, saying, the way this thing ended just feels kind of wounding, or it's disappointing. But what she doesn't seem to know is look, I'm so sorry to say it, but I'll try to always read the stories exactly as I see them. I think she was dealing with somebody who might have been a game player always, or if not a game player, they would always find another thing that was more important. And it would be this perpetual chess game of trying to navigate a relationship with somebody who, I don't know if they had a personality that was a little bit abrasive or difficult to deal with, almost like this person creates obstacles at every turn. I'm also picturing somebody who could have been a little full of themselves, a bit pompous. And I'm so sorry to say it, but I don't know if it's because of all the books, and I'm not saying because somebody's highly educated now that makes them pompous, or because they're a great chess player. That's a pompous thing to do. I don't mean it like that, but they always create obstacles where they have to win or they have to rise to the top. Maybe they enjoy the mental gymnastics of, well, I'm going to do this, but you know what? It's, like a little confrontational is almost the way it feels, and a little bit pompous. This person was always going to put their ideas of life were going to be most important, perhaps more important than the feelings of another person, if that makes sense. And I see that this is a huge gift, honestly, that Cancer's not dealing with them anymore. The Cancer's getting off of their chessboard because it did feel like a game. And this is the checkmate moment where, even though Cancer maybe doesn't know it at the moment, that was treacherous water that they had to navigate with this person. And I kind of think Cancer walking away was the ultimate checkmate. I'm not going to play your silly games no more, as Luke Nelson in The Promise of the Reals would say. There's a song, I hope you find yourself before I find somebody else to be my lover. It's a really catchy tune. But yeah, I don't mean I'm going to let it slide when you're mean to me, even though you're the most precious thing I ever did see. If feels kind of like that. Like Cancer's like, look, I just can't even deal with this. I mean, you've got a lot of great qualities you do, and you're smart and you're wonderful, but I really can't be treated like this. I don't, and it's sad to walk away, but it's even sadder to stay. And that's why Cancer has the courage to walk. But this says, this is the moment where Cancer's life starts to get really good. We see the light of the divine coming down, illuminating. It's like crown chakras open. It's like the wings of the angels are like, yay, finally we can fly Cancer away. I kind of think Cancer is supposed to have a better life than what they were dealing with. Also, look, I'm not trying to, I'm going to sound so rude, like I'm just picking this person apart from the past, but there's somebody so much better for Cancer. There's somebody so much more suited to them. And there's not even one somebody, there's multiple somebodies. There are other people that will treat Cancer with more respect, more love, that would be honored to be in Cancer's presence, that would be wanting to possibly kind of trip all over each other to assist Cancer or, play a role in Cancer's life. And I think this is going to be a really welcome change from somebody who always was like making it difficult just to give their time to Cancer, to suddenly shifting gears. And it's like, oh my God, there's like multiple people that are sincere and nice, and they want to run up and help me, and they want to interact with me. Like, this is just, it's really good to see this kind of energy coming in at Cancer. And I'm glad to see this big change. 10 of Wands. If anything, Cancer's like, damn, why didn't I make this change before? I didn't know there were all these wonderful hotties out there that treat me nice and that are more respectful and that show me that I matter more, and like they're interested in the things I say, and they don't make me feel somehow inferior, like intellectually, or whatever went on here. Because I know this is pretty specific, but it feels like somebody who had like a superiority complex with their education, and it could be like really like, you're not a freaking wizard. I'm sorry, but they have got like this grand wizard's wand, and I don't know why. This is rubbing me the wrong way. Okay, I'm just really glad that Cancer is free of somebody who turns their back, creates obstacles, and plays chess games of the mind, and seems to have a wizard's staff. I'm glad Cancer's not dealing with that. And I think if anything, Cancer's like, wow, I had no idea how much easier relationships could flow when you are flowing with somebody who wants to flow. That's like, excuse me, the gift from the divine, showing Cancer very clearly, like, yeah, it gets better and it gets easier. We've got a 5 of Wands and we've got the 9 of Coins. If anything, as Cancer starts to feel like so much better about themselves also, I think Cancer is just now realizing that person might have been like kind of trying to tear me down. Was I dealing with somebody who had an intent on creating arguments that would instill concern in me, or was it that they were trying to always prove themselves? Because when I meet two people that are knowledgeable and they really trust in their own confidence level, they're not challenged by me. They can talk to me. They like me. They work with me. There's no animosity there. It doesn't feel like it's a struggle. So is it possible that the person I was dealing with previously, did they not feel very secure? Were they actually intimidated of me? And that's why they were always trying to one up me. I'm thinking Cancerian is realizing that they could have had some like reverse psychology where somebody was either trying to chip away at Cancer's own self-confidence because they saw Cancer as more confident than they were. And so then bizarrely, they actually flipped the script and tried to act like, how smart I am. I can win you at chess. Like that's kind of how this comes across. 11-8, you're so adorable. Thank you, babe. Thank you. You're so generous. And I once again, I do agree. We have the 10 of Coins and we have the 7 of Cups. Everything just got better as Cancerian's able to see this. This is what the moon was trying to illuminate. It was something Cancer knew deep down all along, but it had to be illuminated. It had to be brought to the surface. And it took some time for that to happen. But finally, I think Cancer deep down kind of knew that there was some, animosity or hostility because the previous person they were dealing with really didn't feel that great in themselves. And so they were challenged by Cancer. And they may have tried to chip away at Cancer's own like confidence, but that's neither here nor there anymore because Cancer's like really feeling good again as we go through this storyline. So good, in fact, that now they're starting to like consider, okay, so what would I like next? Honestly, I think I could have a really happy relationship. Now, keep in mind, Seven of Cups is options. And we already saw on that Three of Pentacles, there are two lovely individuals here. Okay. One looks like the foreman. The other one looks like, I just say the foreman because he's in like suit and tie, but he's wearing the hard hat. So it looks like he would be like the architect of something, not the one necessarily building it. Not that he doesn't have the skills to, but that he may have, shifted into a position of authority. And then the other one could be like a skilled builder. So two people who could potentially work in about the same industry, but have different levels, and both could be expressing interest in Cancerian pretty soon, or two people that are somehow Cancer sees similarities between the two of them, even if they play different roles. And I just think that there are two people that are going to be vying for Cancer's attention. And maybe that's going to be really nice. Why do we have a King of Swords in the reverse? This Ten of Swords. I'm going to say this is the person that Cancer is no longer with, and they could send a nasty gram. King of Swords in the reverse may write something unkind. Again, if they always, so sorry that we can't just move on into the future without still hearing one final little dig from the person. And it's not really a shock, is it? If somebody was always trying to like one up Cancerian, they may have realized since Cancerian has walked away that Cancer's not coming back. And that might be a further sting to them. And they could write a nasty gram so that it's like they're saying goodbye. I hope it doesn't bother Cancer if they get a nasty gram, especially when Cancer's on the cusp of having like a much better energy. Like they seem to be meeting nicer people and having a potential for different romance and such. Hey, Sam Anita, so great to see you. We've got the High Priestess in the reverse. Cancer will understand exactly what that's all about. In fact, they won't even be surprised. They'll be like, yeah, I already, now that I've figured all this out, now that I'm actually, dealing with other people that are nicer and kinder, and I'm realizing that was kind of a head trip that I went through with them, I would fully expect them to possibly be, disgruntled, or maybe send me a nasty gram, or maybe say something disparaging about me behind my back, making it out to be like they had to quit me because I was this or that. It's going to roll off Cancer's back. Cancer's like, I'm so not surprised about that. Yes, they will not be able to imagine that I left because they created any kind of discomfort. They will say that it's me. That's fine. It's weird because Cancer takes it as the exact reverse. I think almost has pity for them and says, what they're wishing is that I was coming back, and they know that I'm not. This is somebody who, for what it's worth, that person of the past will always wish Cancer was going to show back up in their world, which, when they were that triggered and everything by Cancer, it seems kind of crazy that they would have wanted to like marry Cancer and have Cancer for their own. But that's that mixed up, like I'm totally into Cancer and I really want them, but I'm also challenged by them. So I'm not going to treat them great because I'm feeling insecure, but really I want them to want me and tell me that I'm great. I think Cancer understands all this, as mixed up and messy as it sounds. But does that impact anything, or do we still have Cancer just moving simply forward? King of Coins in the reverse. Cancer's like, this person doesn't want to give to me. They really want me to give to them, and it'll never be enough. So no, you don't get together with a karmic. And I think because Cancer has eyes wide open, Ace of Swords, Queen of Swords, and the Fool. No, Cancer's taking a full on, like, that is my closure. They are my karmic. If I went back to them, it would be to like be made to feel less than so they could prop themselves up on, my lowered self-esteem. I'm not doing that. No, I see it for what it is, and I put up a boundary and I move on. I think this is the final push. Like if Cancer gets a nasty gram from them, Cancer could, like, the very next day decide, I am definitely, in fact, I might even boldly ask one of these fellas out. This could be just the push that Cancer needed to say, I am definitely going to go ahead and I'm going to make a move on somebody who's been giving me more attention and been kinder. Could be an Aries. I don't know which person this would be, but we saw Cancer has kind of possibly a multitude of people interested in them. We still have an Ace of Cups in the reverse. Cancer's like, I'm not trying to go fall head over heels in love with somebody, but I definitely want to start interacting with somebody else. I'm not going to say, oh, they're my one, my only. I'm going to be discerning. I think this is probably like, I don't see Cancer as wounded by that person of the past at all. I see them really moving forward, and I'm seeing them having learned a lesson about, from the past, which is get to know why people behave the way they do, get to know them. Don't give them your heart until you're sure of whether or not they want your heart or they just want your time and attention to make themselves feel better. It feels like this is like a better time in Cancer's life where now we're opening up a new chapter. Cancer's not swift to give their heart to somebody, but they definitely can, identify who treats them nicer and who they'd like to be around or get to know, and then see how things go. And I just think that this is Cancer finally on that right path. Finally, they're going to end up with the kind of partnership they would want to have because they don't feel compelled to have to give their heart to anybody. That person of the past, that karmic, remember karmics teach us lessons that maybe had been on repeat. I wonder if this Cancer had the repetitious cycle with that character of the past or with other people in the past that hadn't really treated them that good. I don't think that'll ever happen to Cancer again. So sometimes karmics, we almost need to say thank you. Thank you for showing me yet again what I don't want. And you helped me learn that lesson so I don't have to keep going back through it. Now my life gets better. This is kind of a great message, even though indeed Cancer did have a karmic in their life, but Cancer said no more. I kind of love it because I see better things on Cancer's horizon. Slow but sure, they'll meet somebody that's really the right match for them. They'll have the 10 of Cups. So much nicer energy. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Good to see everybody. Belle and B, hi, babe. Thank you so much, Juanita and Sweet and Chrissy. Thank you guys so much. Sweet, I love it when you drop songs in. I'm backtracking. Okay, I think I saw. Okay, so Chrissy, you said it's known as the king of fruits. That I love that already. Durian. Okay, smelly but extremely yummy. Is that the one? Okay, I've heard of it before. 11:8. I love that. I've never had it, but custard on a seed. Okay, that sounds amazing. Linda, if I do these readings for Cancer because Aries is a Cancerian, I don't, I don't, I don't know. I'm not sure I know what you mean. Aries is a Cancerian. My Aries is an Aries. Are you talking about my Aries? I don't know. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out. So great to see you all. All right, you guys, lots of love. I'm going to bounce on out of here. I am going to go ahead and get over to the other channel and still do. We have 3 zodiacs that I'd like to still get to tonight if it's not getting too late yet. All right, bye, guys. Thanks again for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing.